we got, what did I send you? Something like 900,000 views on Facebook last month.
Oh,
So
yes. Yep.
yeah, approaching 1 million views on Facebook a month. And I thought that maybe this was a good time, seeing we are now a network with multiple products, to turn the Facebook page into it's no longer the BHN page. It is now the Big Hairy Network page, just like on YouTube. That means you can see content other than BHN on the page. Now I'll be uploading any of the content that is on the Big Hairy Network, which is us, which is Locked Out with Craig Rennie, and is the Frontline with Dr. Gary Pienda. New Zealand Nurses Organisation President Anne Daniels says, great idea. Lots of people seem pretty happy about the idea and where it's going. Apparently Craig Rennie both has to grow a beard and somewhere else doesn't need a beard because he's the respectable looking one. So and it also means there's actually a literal change to the URL. We are now Big Hairy Network on Facebook, not Big Hairy News. And there's one other thing I'm going to add to it. So there's actually there's Locked Out that was released this morning. That's the first one that's going up there. That's up there and it's going up there now, talking about lots of things to do with the economy, a Treasury long-term insights briefing on fiscal policy. I know, gets you hard. And tomorrow morning it will be Gary Pienda's next episode. Now, that also brings me into a conversation, Chewie, which we're not really talking about today, but I wanted people to know a little bit of information that I found out through some of Gary's work. Now, we all know Ed Miller here. Ed Miller is from, I can't remember the name of the group that's got is it an anagram when it's the letters of the number? But he's the guy who basically did a world exclusive on Uber and the taxes that Uber weren't paying. Because this is so prevalent in the news this week, this has been recorded a few weeks ago, but we released it tomorrow morning. They did a piece on the myth of millionaire migration. The myth of millionaire migration, as in when you change the taxes to like a wealth tax or a CG2, millionaires will flee. They'll take their money elsewhere. It's actually been researched. I'm going to play you the introduction to the episode. So this is the whole episode, right? You can see it's 21 minutes, but I do a little intro at the start to give you a bit of a highlight of what's in the show. So have a listen, and then we're going to do one more thing with this information. So remember, government's telling us, bring it on. CG, I hope Labor goes for that capital gains tax, and you watch the wealthy flee in record numbers. Well, there's research on that. There's research.
A year or so ago, the British government said that it was going to roll back a set of rules that it had that were about people who lived outside the UK but still had UK tax residence. Under those rules, as they stood at the time, you could book income outside of the UK, and if that income wasn't generated in the UK, then you weren't subject to that taxation. And it meant that a lot of income that was being produced by UK citizens wasn't being taxed and not able to provide decent public services. That report received about 11,000 pieces of media coverage, not just in the UK, but around the world. It was very widely circulated. TJN, Tax Justice Network, dug into the numbers and found that the amount of millionaires that migrated from the UK that year under the threat of those non-dom changes came to 9,500 people. And that in terms of the context of the number of millionaires in the UK at the time, it was 0.3% of millionaires that moved.
So 99.7% of the wealthy, after these changes were made in the UK, stayed. 0.3% left. And I suspect, I don't have the exact numbers yet, but I suspect losing that 0.3 is probably easily made up by the tax take of the other 99.7 who decided to stay. And there's lots of reasons for that, including like wanting a functional society. Now, one other thing I want to tell you about that, because I've had a conversation about that on Facebook today, and I am interested to show you because I had that piece of information in my head. And when I released a clip, might have been yesterday, that me and Magenta did on Monday, about Christopher Luxon trying to imply that a CGT would be terrible for New Zealand, and he hopes Labour runs on it. Some lovely person who is probably not a real person, Stephen Olsen, says, we want to encourage wealth creation, not discourage. Conversation starts off about tax. You realise that tax does discourage. We've seen people, and this is it, we've seen people leaving the UK to avoid tax increase that the Labour government has applied there. So, of course, I got a chance to say 0.3% of the millionaires left the UK when the tax laws changed. I don't spread disinformation now. That means 99.7% stay. To which his response was, and yet the tax take fell massively. What a surprise. Now, this is what this side of politics will do. Do you notice the dates here, Chewie?
Mm.
So revenue fell 18% in the 2023-2024 year. That means this year finishes April 2024. The changes to the tax law came in this year. So this person is trying to say, yeah, but when they did that, look, the tax take fell. It's like the tax take is not, the changes weren't in that year. So your evidence that it's not working is to cite the tax year ending April 5, 2024, when the non-dom tax laws changed. This, which is the changes you say caused the flee, came into the phase in over 4 years from April of this year. The person then kind of goes, everyone understands it was a bad call by Labour, everyone. To which I do my favourite one at the end of that. Notice he's made a point. I've refuted it. He's made a point. I've refuted it. He's made a point, and I've just told him that he must be a very strong man with all that goalpost shifting he's been doing. But that episode this is basically a big tease for the episode. That episode of Gary Painda's show is coming up tomorrow morning. It gets released at 6 a.m. It is on YouTube, and it is on the Facebook page, which is now the Big Hairy Network, facebook.com/Big Hairy Network. I just thought that was an interesting time because people are talking about it literally right now around the CGT. A form of increasing the wealthy being taxed in the UK has just happened. There's no flee. And as you always say, Chewie, if they do flee, they typically are going to flee to a place where there's a capital gains tax or a wealth tax anyway.
Where are they going?
Yeah.
Where are they going? Like, these are the people that have so much money that the decision to uproot your life and run to another country probably has less hurdles than it would do for your average person. You know, you just hop on a jet, take a business class, pop a couple of sleeping pills, wake up in a different part of the world and have your shipping company just sort it out for you.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of barriers there. But they don't. They don't. They like living where they live. That's why they made their choice. And all of the screaming and moaning about, oh, they're going to run away, it just doesn't bear out. Yeah. And if we're talking about a class of people, a property-owning class of people that are contributing less than the average person is, like, again, the work has been done. We know this. IRD knows this. Then why are we fighting so hard to keep it? Because they will talk about the amount of money, not the percentage. That means that you are carrying a higher burden than someone much, much more able to carry a burden than you are. That is not fair.
Yeah.
That is why everybody that talks about having an honest conversation about a fairer tax system has my attention.
Yeah.
What we have at the moment, and I'm sure people on social media have noticed this, is, by God, Acton National are trying to bang an empty bucket. I saw them put out a social media post that Labour refuses to rule out taxing the family home. They refuse to rule it out because they haven't talked about it at all. And National is not handling this very well at all. They have nothing to talk about. Like, they might as well have put out a press release that says, Labour's refusing to rule out mincing up your nan. Yeah, of course they're not. Nobody's talking about it.
And if you ever needed evidence, and I know you didn't, you're smart people, but if you ever needed evidence that Twitter has gone, long gone, just go and read I mean, they're not even, I mean, they try to be offensive. They're not, I don't care. They're not even that offensive. But, you know, you don't know anything. No one wants it. You know, show me you haven't watched the item by showing me you haven't watched the item. You weren't here, Chewie, but of course, one of the things I did do was bring up the
No, there I am.
Oh,
I've
you
got
were
a
there.
cool hat.
Bring up the article, 2/3 of voters support capital gains tax. So all these people say, no one wants this. No one wants this. What do you mean? Who are you saying? No one. It's like, so you haven't watched it at all. Because it literally in the video, I showed the article that points to the evidence of the research that say 2/3 of New Zealanders want some kind of capital gains tax. And that's the whole point we're making. The whole point we're making is if Luxon says bring it on, it's going to be bad. I'm like, bring it on. It's no longer controversial.
And that poll
and
keeps
it's, and it's
happening. They
wanted.
keep on,
Yeah.
they keep on putting it out, and they keep on getting the same result, or they get a better result, or that sort of thing. Oh shit! Oh fuck! No, not like that. Ask the question again. Ask them again. Oh, they've said the same answer again. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck because we are hurting and everything around us is falling apart. The schools, the police, the health system, our infrastructure. Winston Peters is saying that having a tent as some sort of passenger terminal is fine because we can't afford the Taj Mahal. We used to be able to afford things. I had a conversation with my mum going like, there's just no way that we're able to do this because we're too small a population. And I said, how did we used to do things when we had a smaller population then? She goes, oh, yeah, that's right. We used to tax the wealthy. Everybody did. Everybody did. You had Europe rebuilding itself after World War II. You had USA going, you know what? We're going to fight several wars and go into space to the moon at the same time. And we're going to have just a mammoth standard of living. Like we're just a massive, everybody gets a refrigerator. We don't care. They all did that because they were taxing the wealthy at 80 to 90%. And the sky didn't fall in. We created a golden age. And then during the 80s, everybody went, hey, the wealthy don't like it. They want us to stop. And we did. We stopped doing it. And the decline began. The rot set in. It happened everywhere in the West. It happened here. And we just can't keep going. Neoliberalism will do it. Late stage capitalism, it's a great, like, don't try anything else. Don't look into it. This is fine. It's not fine. Let's do something different.
And if you are watching us, I believe the hashtag that Chewie has just started, hashtag mince my nan. I think that's now going around the globe. Hashtag mince my nan.
The mince my nan tax plan.